On today's episode of WatchJRGo, you guys ever loan your friend your car and they bring it back with all the lights on the dash and completely broken? Yeah, me too. What is going on, guys? I'm WatchJRGo, and today, like I said, we are back in the shop with my 2017 Chevy Volt Premier, and today I have it back here at the house. I just loaned it to a friend of mine. I told him I wasn't going to tell everybody who it was, but he said, tell him. So Mike has been driving this car as a loaner while he was in town, obviously. You guys know I usually hang out with him while I'm in Atlanta, where he lives. But this week he had flown into Kansas and I let him borrow my car. And when he brought it back, it was, every light on the dash and propulsion power reduced and completely broken. Now, he texted me as soon as it came up and said, what's going on with your car? Does this happen? And I was like, no, the propulsion power reduced message is not a good sign. That only happens when the engine can't make enough power to charge the battery. So when it's being a hybrid, right, it still runs as kind of a parallel hybrid, basically. Like, this is a plug-in hybrid, but the battery, well, the motor, the electric motor and the engine can drive the car forward. But if the electric motor is drawing too much power and the engine can't make up enough power, it says propulsion power reduced on the dash and things are bad. Now, that usually only happens to me when I'm climbing a mountain in Colorado. Going down a mountain, it's the exact opposite, right? You can start at the top with a dead battery, and when you get to the bottom of the mountain, the battery will be almost charged on this thing, or even too charged, which it can stop you then. Obviously, you'll lose your regen brakes, and it'll pop up with a warning saying the battery is going to overcharge, and you need to find a way to get rid of some of the power in the battery pack. But on the way up, you can definitely hit that message when the engine can't generate enough power by turning enough RPM to keep the car moving. It'll creep forward, but it throws a big fit. But right now, we've got the check engine light, we've got the TPMS light, and the message on the dash saying propulsion power reduced all the time, no matter what. So he went and filled it up with gas for me, and we're not gonna actually blame Mike for this because you never know, right? The hybrids are weird, you get into some odd situations, especially plug-in hybrids. It's like the most complex vehicle on the planet. Straight EVs are so much easier, but let's figure out what went wrong with my Volt, and hopefully it's not the end of the world. Let's see what's going on here. So we got the Autel. Might as well just hook up to it because every light's on. So, luckily GM puts their OBD ports in reasonable spots. It's like the easiest thing to find, unlike half the cars we work on around here, especially the Maserati where you have to rip the whole knee bolster down. Then you have to shut off comma, which gets very upset because it intercepts the OBD2 and CAN communication. Then we'll jump in here, turn this thing on. The spaceship sounds go off. And then of course we can see TPMS is flashing, check engine is on, and let's shut the air off here. Service tire monitor, dismiss, propulsion power is reduced, check engine, and obviously like these clear the check engine light without starting the engine because usually you'd be driving around in EV mode. I just charged it, so we don't need the engine, and obviously it should have instantly cleared the check engine light. So let's scan this thing here. And of course, the nice thing about the Volt is you don't have to fill in all the options. A lot of cars now you have to fill in the options and it just knows everything after it pulls the bin on this. And let's scan it. Let's see what's going on here. Auto scan. And here we go. How bad could it be? We'll get back to work in just a moment, but first I need to take a second to tell you about the sponsor of today's video. Mando. Mando is a deodorant for guys that just works. It's not about smelling fancy, it's about smelling like nothing at all, which coincidentally is my laundry philosophy too. Mando is a deodorant that just works. It gives you long-lasting protection that you don't have to reapply halfway through the day. And if you've ever had to throw deodorant back on at lunchtime, well, this might be the deodorant for you. It gives you confidence that lasts because you won't have to worry about reapplying multiple times throughout the day, and they have whole body odor control as well. Not just your normal deodorant in a stick, you can also grab their spray deodorant right there, Pitts packages feet, and their body wash, which smells delicious as well. This is the bourbon leather. Love this one. And of course, if you'd rather have like a liquid applicable version, they have the Pro Sport Invisible Cream and deodorant wipes as well. So there is something Mando makes for everybody. Best of all, Mando has straightforward branding. There's no over-the-top macho or gimmicky promises. So try Mando today using my link in the description below, or use code JRGO5 for a discount off your first order. Huge thank you to Mando for being the sponsor of today's video and being a continued supporter of automotive creators like me. Now, let's get back to work. Ooh. Well, that's a little crazy. So 4 BCM codes, 1 PSCM, 1 EBCM, electronic brake, 1 LRRRRRSM. Don't even know what that's supposed to be. And then cluster. So let's take a quick look at the report. Let's figure out what LRRRRR is. Oh, long range radar sensor. Okay. Well, that makes sense because comma intercepts the CAN bus there, and that's why it's upset. So we can, wow. We can definitely ignore that one. 30, heated oxygen sensor, heater control circuit sensor 1, 31, low voltage on that sensor, 403, EGR control, 405, EGR position, 443 evap, purge solenoid. There's no way all this broke at once. This is like the entire engine. Low voltage on the same, I mean, luckily it's like 2 codes for every single thing here, right? EGR again, motor control circuit, 3 codes for EGR, 2 codes for O2, engine coolant thermostat heater. Okay, that's kind of interesting. There's a heater on the engine coolant. Like, what on earth? But anyway, 2 codes for that, and then 2 codes for engine oil pressure control, and lost comm with cruise. Again, lost comm with cruise is always there because we break that circuit for comma. Okay, so all these other codes are really pointless. They're always here. Oh, here's our TPMS problem. Left front tire pressure low voltage and left rear tire pressure sensor too few pulses. So I'm gonna guess these are all low batteries, and I definitely don't think that's Mike's fault. I think I just put 2 sensors on this thing the other day, and then I didn't replace the other 2. And they might have said low voltage then, but I assumed they were gonna make it quite a bit farther. And they didn't. They did not make it much longer. It's only been a month or maybe 2 months. All right, so there we go. We have 12 ECM codes here. So let's just clear those and it'll hopefully go away. Hopefully this was like a blip. All right, go away. Here we are. Oh, wow. It shows there's 12 codes right now. It didn't clear or something. Let's just clear it again. Maybe we can get it to actually go away. I mean, the ignition is on. Maybe I should have had it in accessory or on instead of run. But we are in full run. So let's erase it again. And there we go. Okay. No codes left. Only BCM1. And of course, that's probably something related to the cruise module. Oh, yeah. TPMS. That's no big deal. We can fix the TPMS sensors. I have 2 more. We'll just keep swapping them out until we finally have 4 good batteries. Kind of right on the money, 7 years. Yeah, well, 8 years. 8 years on TPMS sensors, you can't really complain about that. I'm sure the ones I'm taking out are stock, and then the ones I'm putting back in are the Autels. Hopefully they'll last even longer, but 8 years is hard to complain about. They cost like $35, so it's not a huge cost over that time. Okay, so no more check engine light? Still check engine light, let's just restart it. Open the door, make sure it clears. Oh yeah, the key's in the car. Any day now. Propulsion power reduced. No TPMS, but we do have check engine. Let's just scan it one more time and see if any of these codes came back. And fault scan. 8 codes? The engine hasn't even started. This thing literally has not started. How would it even have these codes set? It's all the same stuff. There we go again. We're missing 030 and 031, but EGR, evap, EGR, coolant, and oil pressure. Wow. Well, something has gone drastically wrong here. Let's get under the hood and do some troubleshooting here. And also, we might as well start it up. To start it, you just open the hood. There you go. Rips right to life. Ooh. I felt a little shudder there. All right, here we go. She's a little shuddery today. Well, there, it got better. I think it just warmed up to operating temp at like enough. So now it stopped shaking like crazy. It's not like a misfire shake. There's not a single misfire code. All right, let's shut this thing off. I'm gonna check the oil. I mean, I changed it recently. You can even see, it hasn't been that long. There's still oil residue on everything. Ooh. There's no way it's warm. The fans just kicked off. It was on for like 40 seconds. All right, I'm gonna go ahead and check the oil. Yeah, this isn't even a little bit warm. These are freezing cold. It's like air conditioning just came on for the engine. Little Bartle to action. That looks good to me, guys. What do you think? It honestly looks flawless. Well, the oil looks great, and obviously we have oil pressure as well because the engine's not knocking or anything like that. Like, this thing's actually running perfectly. Let's look around here and see if we can find like a rodent that ate some wires, because there's a good chance that's what happened here. But we'll go over all the harnesses here and just kind of look for where they'd be hanging out back up inside the engine bay. And so far I'm not seeing anything. The nice thing about this is all the wires are wrapped up in their split loom tubing with the factory tape on them and everything. At least everything I've seen so far, which makes it much harder for them to eat, right? They have to eat through that solid plastic instead of just chewing on wires that might be delicious. But nothing there. You know, we have to check it all. If the headlights have CAN bus run into them or something, it could be what's breaking this. We've seen the damage that water in a taillight can do to an F-150 or any Ford with radar in the taillight. So everything here is looking good so far. Look at that, we got EGT probes on this bad boy. And then all of this is wrapped in heat tape. Nothing in here obviously has been chewed up, and then all of that wiring comes over to here. There's another EGT probe. Interesting. The most EGT probes I've seen on a stock gas engine here. But I don't see anything, guys. Here's the main harness. This one right here is like literally everything. So if there was a break in this, I'd get it. Well, everything comes into this fuse box right here, fireman's loop right here, and then this is everything going into the cabin. And I don't see a single issue so far. All this orange stuff's charging circuitry for the high voltage side. But yeah, I guess next we just start checking for power to see if like maybe there's a ground that failed. There's the ground. It's that braided cable right down there with that white sticker on it. And I can see it's attached to the frame on this little piece of metal that runs up, and then it must just run, yeah, straight back to the block. It doesn't look like it's loose or anything. I know it's like impossible to see, but there's a ground and it's still intact. All right, nothing to do here except start ohming things out. Let's put this thing on beep. It's like when you're a chef, you gotta make sure you tap your meter leads together. Start checking things. We'll start with the engine block. Where's a ground we can count on? There we go. That's an actual chassis ground right there. Everything on the engine, ohms out. And we're talking 1.0 ohms resistance right there. I mean, no resistance. Trans 0.6, engine mount, isolated, 0. Let's check the engine again. Here's the actual block. 0.2, 0.3. There's no resistance between any of this, so I think we have good grounds. I don't see anything else we need to check. I mean, obviously the engine like starts perfectly and seems like it actually runs well. So it can't be that bad, whatever's going on here. If we didn't have a ground, it'd be like cranking slow or something else would be wrong. Let's look at this fuse box here. Where's EGR or EVAP? Well, nothing. ECM, ignition coils. We've got ignition coils. E-boost. I don't even know what e-boost is. Oh, electronic booster for the brakes. Sounds more like something you'd have in Formula E. Hit the e-boost! There is nothing on here other than like 5, 6 of these that say ECM on them. Don't see it. Well, all we can do is start checking. Let's just ohm out all the fuses. That's always the next course of action here. So we'll start at the top and work down. Every fuse is good. One off in its own little la-la land there. Oop, I thought I had a bad one. Well, this one's clearly bad. Let's pull it. Let's see what's going on. I'll go get some needle nose and we'll get this fuse out of here. It doesn't actually, I don't know why it would be bad. Somehow the very last one that you check is bad. I don't know, seems odd. So let's go actually look at this fuse and see if it's blown. It's blown. It also looks like it's been warm. It's like got a little bit of an orange hue to it. Take a look at that. Can you guys see that? She is very, very blown right through the middle there. Let's go get a new fuse and stick it in and see if we fix this thing. Off to fuse land. Good thing I got a bunch of these. Oh, this thing has a fuse puller. How did I not even notice that? Oh well, needle nose are always easier. So this was fuse 3. It was this one down here by itself. All right. Now all we gotta do is start this thing up. Is it fixed? Ripped right to life. $13, can we have more codes? Guys, we literally fixed the broken fuse, and it got worse. Can't say we fixed it. Are they different codes? They're all the same codes. Wow. But we have more. Huh. All right. Well, let's go check again. That's not the number you want to see go up. No, it's blown. Look at that. I don't know if you can actually see it, but yeah, it must have blown instantly. Well guys, we figured it out, at least I think. There's actually a bunch of threads about this. After you go look it up, this thread was 10 codes, dreaded reduced propulsion. All of them are different, right? We've been getting different numbers of codes set on the ECU, 8, 12, 13, 14, I don't know. We've gotten a different number of codes like every single time, and they're all set in the ECM, but it doesn't seem like it ever goes over like 14 or something like that. So obviously we've blown this fuse twice. Everybody has the same story after I looked it up, like 10 plus codes, and fuse number 3 is blown. So what's going on with fuse number 3 is this, I think this is the EGR valve, right? It's basically a whole throttle body on the Volts, especially the Volts from California. This is pretty much a California only thing, I think. But you have this big motorized EGR valve here. It might be like failing, or either way, it's pulling too much current and blowing that fuse, and that takes out everything else all at the same time. And this fuse is called non-walk home. So this fuse blows to protect everything else in the engine apparently. So that's FO3 right there, 15 amps. We're just gonna go ahead and put this back because I think we're gonna get this fixed for free. So if you guys remember when I bought this car, it came from Las Vegas, but before it was in Las Vegas, it came from California. And when I bought it, of course, we got it home and we actually took off the California HOV lane stickers. Those are like the low emission stickers that you get to put on the back side of the car. And if you have a zero emission vehicle, you get to drive in the HOV lanes for free in California. I actually think that ended like recently, maybe a year ago or something like that, but for a long time, that was the case. So this was originally a California car, and because it's a California car, it gets way more emissions controls on it. And usually emission stuff, really just EGR, isn't covered under warranty. It's like 50-50. Maybe you could talk your dealer into covering an EGR valve, maybe not. But with this car, I just checked. I opened up the MyGM app and looked at the warranties, and the PZEV warranty is still in effect. I think to 150,000 miles on this car because it has a rack of extra emissions on it. So it's LDV Tier 3 and PZEV. And the emissions and PZEV warranties are in effect on this car. It's the only warranty left. Of course, you guys remember it had a problem like a year ago or something like that with the park selector. It wasn't always saying that it was in park. You put it in park and it would say shift to park. So they fixed that, and that was covered under warranty. And now I think this is gonna be completely free, so we're not gonna mess with it anymore. Now we figured it out, we know it's that fuse, and we think it's the EGR valve drawing too much current when it tries to close. Who knows, it could be clogged up or something weird. But with that said, the EGR valve is under warranty, and I'm not gonna keep messing with it if it can be fixed completely for free. So this is actually kind of a win. Like I said at the beginning of the video, we're not blaming Mike at all. Don't go start any fights with him saying that he broke my car and drove it back. It looks like this was literally just something that was going to happen no matter what, and it just happened while he had the car. So no big deal. I'm actually kind of glad he broke it because now we get to go solve another problem, and I love when things break. You know, I've said this many times. Some people have different opinions on this, but when stuff like this breaks and you get new parts for free, especially when it's probably like a $300 part, that's super exciting, right? It's prolonging the life of the vehicle, get a little bit of maintenance done while you're in there. So who cares? The Volt broke, and it looks like Chevy's gonna fix it. I will update you guys on what they do. So I'm gonna take it in, drop it off the dealership tomorrow, and for now, let's just pack this up and call it done. Sure, it's broken, but I don't have to fix it, which is the best. So that is it for today, guys. Thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to head on over to shop WatchJRGo.com for cool shirts just like this. Huge thank you to Mando for being the sponsor of today's video. And please like, share, subscribe, do whatever you want to do, and I will talk to you next time. All right, well, like I said, we're gonna pack this up and we're gonna go ahead and put this thing on the charger. So it's completely full and ready to drive to the dealership. Again, hit that link in the description if you want to check this stuff out, because it's right there by my tools. But let's go ahead and plug the Volt in, get it all ready to go for tomorrow. This is kind of really the best part of a plug-in hybrid is when the engine breaks, you should still be good to go as long as you can charge the thing. And honestly, there's a bunch of Volts with like dead engines, Gen 2 Volts with dead engines. People are driving them around as dailies on electric only, and they just plug them in. It's kind of cool. I hope my engine doesn't break. I'm gonna keep hoping and holding out, but so far it's been pretty great. This is just a dumb little hiccup, probably caused by the ridiculous amount of extra emissions California puts on these cars. All right, she's done.